Courage is the only virtue you can't fake. You just know it, right? You know when you're in the presence of a courageous person. You know when you're in the presence of someone that refuses to back down. You know when someone knows they are tiny but mighty. When you gonna find your roar?
Hey everybody, welcome to a special episode of the Freedom Parents Podcast. I'm the producer for the podcast, Danny, and today we want to bring you the opening keynote of Sam and Harold's event, Rise to Shine. For those that don't know, Sam and Harold are independent certified OPTIVIA coaches, and this was actually a training for their team. We loved it though because it gives so much backstory into who they are, how they've been able to build a business with their family, and how they've been so consistent over the last 10 years. So without further ado, here are Sam and Harold.
Yeah. So we're not going to smoke screen it. We're going to lift the curtains. We're going to pull the curtains back and let you guys see it, because some people won't do that because they don't want to scare and run you off. But I want to prepare you. That way, when you do see it or you do come across it, you're like, I knew this was coming. Harold told me this bullshit was happening. I just didn't know when, right? 10 years of doing this business. First off, how many of you have been coaching less than a month? Raise your hand. Less than 6 months. All right, so you got some less than a year. Okay, all right. Less than 2 years. All right, so under 24 months is a bigger portion. So for 10 years, I'd say every year, and it gets less and less. But again, I'm pulling a curtain back. There's not a year that went by, and it gets less and less, that I'm like, man, why am I doing this? You ever felt that way? Like, I jumped out of one frying pan into another. There's no freedom in this. What am I doing? We lose perspective, though, right? And that's why we say go to your gratitude list and start looking at your life before. And now a lot of you come to me and say, yeah, but I realize this. I get calls from you all the time. I realize now when I contrast it, and then I looked at what I'm looking to build, and I contrast, and it's even brighter. But I say all of that to say that even coming into this event, me and Sam looked at each other because we had a lot going on, and we were like, we should just cancel this event. Ooh, never thought a leader would come up here and say that. That thought, it lasted all of 3 seconds, but it came out of our mouths, and we looked and we went, nah. Because we've never canceled. We show up, and there was a point of being here, and there was a mission to serve, and that was that devil creeping in. He saw a vulnerable moment in us, and he stuck his little foot in, and he crept in, and he tried to create and fracture that. But we're well aware of that now. We see his wily ways. But there's many times when I wanted to fade away. Last year, I've wanted to fade away. And we could fade away. Many of you have heard me say that. We've built an enterprise, a legacy-based business through everything we're going to share with you this next 2 days. But every time that I want to give up, God seems to prod me. He just pokes me. And he says,
Get it.
He says, you the man for the job. And we all have our roles. We're all just vehicles for him, right? And for some reason, he made me so passionate that it gets confused with anger.
Nobody's ever seen angry Harold.
My passion and my contending for you all to win at levels that you don't believe in yourself, but I do. Damn. comes off as anger. I'm not angry. I'm passionate. Say passionate. Passionate. You need more of it. And I have a low tolerance for the victimhood because I was stuck in victimhood and it didn't give me anything I wanted. So when I see all of you playing in it, it comes off as angry, but I'm just contending for you. You get that too at some levels with your clients, right? Different capacities, right? Well, there's new levels with new devils. And again, I just want to set expectations for what you're going to see. So when you see it, you're not surprised. New levels, new devils. The bigger you grow, the more expectations are going to be put on you. You bear the cross. I looked at Sam sometimes and said, God damn, why does everybody put such high expectations on us as if we're not human and we can't maybe falter or maybe mess up? That's the cross we bear. We don't ask for the expectations, but people are going to graciously throw those expectations on you as if you're non-human and you're Superman. And you just need to keep showing up. And you do need to keep showing up, because otherwise you're giving up. And the devil's winning. As you grow and as you build more and more people, those expectations are going to get heavier, and there's going to be more people critiquing you and how you operate. Clients, coaches, peanut gallery is going to be everywhere, and how they could do it better. See, the thing about critics, though, is they judge and point at you on what they can do better. They ain't did shit. They're not doing it. Remember that. Remember that. And I'll just say, scoreboard, bitch. You peanut gallery and you critique how much I do shit wrong, how much she does wrong, how much, and they'll say how you do it wrong. Just point at the scoreboard. Say, if you can do it better, show me, because I'm rooting you on. I've been contending for you for years. That's the attitude you got to have. That's the confidence you have to have that gets mistaken from cockiness. It's confidence. And I share all this not to say to be like me. Lord, you don't want to be like me. It is hard being me. You get a lot of arrows being me. There's a lot of noise in here being me. You don't want to be like her either. She's a hot mess too. But some of you are so afraid to be authentically you because of all those critics. I'm telling you, if you're going to build something big, they're coming for you. They're coming for you. Now you got the expectation. You know it. Don't be surprised. All them naysayers, they'll turn into fans eventually, some of them. I'll kind of wrap it up here. As I said, I can recall, and some of you heard this story, but I'll say it again because I know many of you haven't. But that fear kicks in. I remember the night that we went global, or we were going global. We were about to go global, director. This was before they had Zoom. You would do leadership calls on the phone. And this is how much the fear kicks in. And Sam said, oh, we're going to be on leadership calls. She was excited. I'm shrinking back. I'm like, oh, crap, how can I sabotage going global? I don't want to speak in front of 1,000 people. You ever had that thought? You start to sabotage. You're self-sabotaging yourselves because of some silly-ass fears. I used to stand up here, couldn't drink my water because my hand would shake too much. I'd be thirsty as hell. Water right there within grasp. Could splash it in my face a little bit. Lick a little bit of it off my lip. But I was too damn freaking nervous to even get the water to my mouth. But I kept showing up, and we kept showing up. We didn't know what the hell we were doing, but we kept showing up. And that's why this morning we're going to discuss the courage to go after your big dreams. And we're going to pull the curtain back. This is going to be the messiest presentation you've ever seen in your life. Sam did the PowerPoint slides. And she showed them to me. She said, I know what you're going to say. They're a mess. She said, but that's what I want to show them, that it was a mess the whole way to where we got today.
In fact, we did not plan this talk out. We talked about the concept and the feeling and the place we wanted to take you, the journey we wanted you to take you on, and what we wanted you to be equipped with. But we didn't sit down, bullet point, rehearse for also that reason. Because courage is something very special. While it's very difficult to teach someone to be gritty, in fact, if you've read the book Grit by Angela Duckworth, there's a lot of theories that actually it's genetic. But there are characteristics of grit that people can learn and take on. Courage can be taught. I can teach you to be courageous, because being courageous means the ability to do something while afraid. I can't take away your fear. I'm not God. But what can help you get around your fears and the list of all the things you know you should do but haven't done yet, or you're kind of doing and should 10x, that can quiet the fear. I want you to know that you can move outside of comparison. You know, it's still weird for me to think that some of you in here might be comparing yourselves to us and how you don't measure up, or comparing yourselves even to some other top leader with some bigger business than us and how you don't measure up. Because what I see when I look at us is I see the people we were when we started. I see, you know, the young couple struggling to make ends meet. Like terrible fashion sense. It's really bad. I didn't know how to do my makeup apparently. Still struggle with that maybe. But, you know, I see the people at the very beginning. And what I want you to see today is I want you to meet those people. Because every event, I've tried to make you see who you're going to become, who you could be. I've tried to make you see you're powerful. I use nice words. I try to sweet you up. But there's another side of me, and I'm sassy. I'm 50% sweet and 50% sassy. So the sweet hasn't worked. So I'm gonna bring you the sass and the spice today.
Y'all done messed up.
I'm gonna bring, all right? Because everything that you want, it's not on the other side of your fear, it's on the other side of your courage, of you stepping into the courage to change your life.
This is one of my favorite ways. Courage has different definitions. Sam spoke one earlier, but I love this one. Courage is moving from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. Oh, that one speaks to me. I just got goosebumps. See, the beard grew even bigger. Moving from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. Remember that one. Write it down. Say it over and over again, because you're going to need it to grow this business. You're going to need it, but it's worth it.
Yeah, so.
Danny, we might get shadow banned. We use a Winston Churchill quote. That's an inside joke.
That's an inside joke. So if you can't see who you can be, if you can't believe it, if you can't see yourself on the stage, if you can't see yourself leading hundreds of thousands of people to, step into their health goals and their business goals and their life goals, then I want you to see where we started, okay? And I want you to envision yourself on this journey with us, even if there's elements of it that look so completely different. Like you're a guy, you cannot resonate with having so many babies, but you can resonate with Harold. Or maybe you can't resonate with owning a gym, but can you resonate with having a full-time job and working for someone? You know, can you resonate with having bills that are hard to pay? Can you resonate with waking up every day and feeling like you're not living up to your full potential that God has put in you? The stirring in your soul that like, God, there's more to this, right? There's more to life. That's what I want you to picture, because this is where you are now and the steps that you're going to take to achieve your goals and your dreams. So, if you're with us on this journey, you're a beginner. This is one of my favorite books, The Alchemist. Have you read it? Raise your hand if you have. You might want to get it. Good one. And in this book, this young man goes through this incredible journey. His life is radically changed. He goes from nothing to, just everything a man could want in his life. And there's this part where the journey gets hard. And he's speaking to the wise man, and he's explaining this, and he's telling him it's called the principle of favorability. When you play the cards the first time, you are almost sure to win, because there is a force that wants you to realize your destiny. It whets your appetite with the taste of success. All of you in here, you're beginners like we were. You got some success. You had the big transformation. You had maybe even the wow factor of it, like, oh my God, everybody's so excited. They want what you have. But then you're at the crossroads where things start to get tough, okay? And you're running out of your beginner's luck. But here's the thing that so many of you aren't realizing. You're still not fully tapped into it. You're still not fully tapped into maxing out your social media presence. You've got 3 before and afters, maybe less. Do you know my camera roll from these days? I have 300, probably more now because I had to go through all these pictures. Transformation style pictures of just myself for marketing. Just myself. Because I was constantly making myself an example of this program. You still haven't tapped into your beginner's luck. What are you leaving on the table? What cards are you leaving on the table? So here we are at the very beginning, not the very beginning of coaching, because we bought our kit and sat on it, signed up a bunch of clients, forgot about them. We're terrible coaches. They still somehow got results, thank God. Come back around. And Harold and I are realizing that we're at the end of our beginner's luck with our gym. We're at the end of our beginner's luck with our marriage. We're pregnant with our second child. In this picture, there's a lot of pictures where I'm pregnant. I'm actually 4 weeks pregnant with our second, Mila. Just before we go to this event here in California, we had our worst argument ever. We both said the D word. We both said we loved each other, but we didn't know how to live with each other. We were both extremely stressed because our business, our gym, was struggling, and we didn't have the means. And then he tells me that he's bought us 2 plane tickets to go some fitness summit. And I'm thinking, how am I supposed to sit next to you from Louisiana to California when I'm like, I don't even know if we can be together. And I'm pregnant with your second child. You're trying to save the business. I'm trying to save our marriage. We go to this event. Who can guess what happened at this event? Does anyone know? Maria, what happened?
Is that where you met Alex?
That's where we met Alex. This is not Alex, because I didn't get a picture with Alex at this event.
This is actually Joe Polish.
Yes.
He's
incredible marketer.
Yeah, he's an incredible marketer.
Actually lives here, I think.
Yeah.
So after meeting Joe Polish, I met Alex McMillan and also Vito.
Lymphata.
Harold refused marriage counseling and coaching. But I knew that what at the source of his pain was the finances. So I said, if I can get a business coach, I don't know how, but maybe we can save something. We met Alex. Alex was not a marriage counselor, but very well could have been. Uh-huh. He was patient, and he brought us the opportunity that changed our life. So it started with having the courage to act. When we wanted to quit, when we thought the solution was quitting, we took a counterintuitive step towards action before giving up. So many of you in here are going to listen to your gut when it tells you this is too hard, I can't, I've got to quit. And I'm not telling you, look, this isn't me on a podium saying I'm anti-divorce and all these things. No, I'm pro fixing things. I'm pro healing. That's going to look different for different people. But what I do know is if you don't have another opportunity that's better than OPTIVIA, then why in the world are you not giving it your time and attention and having the courage to act upon that every single day? For our gym, we would never even attend a BNI or a chamber meeting. We were so frightened of gatherings. Coming off of that, we got into OPTIVIA. And because we were so committed to fixing things, to healing things, we made a decision to have the courage to act differently, to take action in different ways.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that projector right there. I think we still have it. That thing was heavy as hell. I'd carry that thing around, and that whatever you call this projector thing, and we towed it around from place to place. Maria, from place to place, setting that thing up. Maria, she'd be helping setting stuff up and working the front desk. We didn't know what the hell we were doing, but we kept showing up, and more people kept showing up.
He who is not courageous enough to take risk will accomplish nothing in life. Risk is one of the first steps towards owning your courage, to being courageous. And taking risk will look different for everyone. For some of us, taking a risk is putting ourselves out there on social media. For some of us, it's going to be pressing live on that Facebook app or Instagram every single day. For some of us, it's going to be learning how to do better stories. So there's some of us in here who simply just don't sit down to have authentic conversations every day with new people. There's some people who won't follow up with people that reached out to them every single week. For some of you, the risk are going to be that when you're off from your quote unquote real job or your full-time job, when you want to just turn on the TV and veg out, when you want to just be mom, when you want to just be dad, when you want to say, oh God, just like, PMS today is pretty bad. When you want to say, oh no, I'm a little stuffy, the risk is going to be showing up despite what you're used to doing. I want you to put on everybody should have a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper in the middle, as big as you can write it, I want you to write courage. And outside of it, I want you to write down what risk you haven't been willing to take. Harold hated social media. He also really despised public speaking. Both of us did, okay? First risk, we had a client at our gym that believed in us. He did our program. He loved it. He wanted us to come speak at his law firm. A bunch of really super professional people. Guys, I'm a college dropout. I'm a professional trainer. I'm not this public speaker. Harold, he's not a college dropout, but he just doesn't want to be up there in the spotlight. He said yes to it. He drugged me to it. Literally, my first public speaking event ever. I have a notebook in my lap, crossing the causeway. For those that Louisiana, that's, this drive is at least 30 minutes long. I have my notes of what we plan to say, how we're tying this into OPTIVIA. I'm looking, it's on my lap. He's trying to talk to me. I'm just looking at it like this. And I'm like, shh, stop. Don't talk to me right now. I have to focus. He's like, what? Are you nervous? I'm like, yes, I'm nervous. It's going to be okay. We're going to do it anyway. So just quiet. That's been every single risk, every single thing that we've taken. Oh my God, Harold, I'm so nervous. I don't know if I can do this. Shh, it's gonna be okay. We can do this. Do you have the courage to believe you can? Harold alluded to going global and wanting to throw in the towel. Maria was actually there that night, right here with the cake. It was his birthday. We woke up. I like to tie accomplishments to things, okay? I had promised him that before we got pregnant with our third child that we would go global because he wanted to be able to afford his third child. And for him, the income at global represented him being able to provide in a way that he wanted to for his children. Well, I am very pregnant. Actually, also in this picture, if you look, you can see a little belly popping out. Surprise, I'm pregnant. And we are not global. I was like, we're going global for your birthday. We woke up that day, I think we were integrated regional. Mm-hmm. And to try and save grace, I was planning a surprise birthday party for him. He goes into the office, Sam, what? Do you still want it? Want what? Do you still want global? And my jaw drops, and I'm looking at my text, texting people about cakes and things and all that. I'm like, yes. Well, we've got it. We've got a shot if you're ready to work for it. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Literally, as people are coming in to this house for his party, we are on calls with coaches, doing health assessments with brand new coach that went ED in 2 weeks, helping others dial it in, running incentives, all in a matter of about 6 hours. We took the risk to be uncomfortable. Most people, y'all, on your birthday, you're not going to work. You're not picking up the phone to do things. You're not trying to multitask all these things. But you have to take the risk to get uncomfortable. I wouldn't have done it. Off here to the far right, this was right after one of our first, our second event. We were feeling pretty crappy because we had brought on a bunch of clients and done nothing for a couple years. We realized the opportunity we were squandering. Harold goes, how quick do you think you can bring on 10 clients? I'm like, well, I don't know how these other people are doing it because we didn't have direct line of mentorship that did those things. And I'm not blaming. It's fine. I'm grateful. I'm here. But I was like, we're going to use what we have. Can you take a risk to use what you have instead of looking at someone else? You know what victims do? Victims look at people who have succeeded and said, oh, but he was a minister. And she was a youth pastor, and they owned a gym, and they did this. You have connections. You have a life. You have a skill set. You know people. Are you willing to take the risk to use what you know, who you know, and what you have to build towards the next step? I gave away free training so I could work in the cost of a program. Free training. And I tied it up in a whole little program. I signed up 10 clients. From that came one of my first transformations at the bottom here, Becky. Actually was a mom of 5. Crazy, I just realized that. And I learned how to create transformations.
And that we were playing the long game there. So we were willing to sacrifice time, energy to not really make money. See, some of you are like, down to the penny, if things work out exactly, you're not looking through the forest. Right? You can't see through the forest. That we were just trying to create that. Someone who was well known in the community. She was influential. She had some connections, right? To create that. And that was worth how many weeks? A month of really making nothing, practically losing money to create that right there.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I did 4 workouts a week for 4 weeks, free. I got paid more at the time to do personal training than I did to be a health coach. But being a personal trainer wasn't going to pay me as much as being a health coach pays me today. And I saw that. We saw that. There's last thing here is the brownie picture. Okay, lots of you heard will say, I mean, he's cussed a couple times, so I'm sure I can say this. Like, I took the risk to pimp out Harold. Like, I mean, look at the man. I mean, he started eating the fuelings, and he went from, having already great abs to being like shredded. He took the risk to eat them because he was a food snob. And as much as he believed in the financial aspect of being a coach and the impact and helping people, he didn't think it actually applied to him until he gave it a try. And he realized that this was a great tool for anyone. And sure enough, I'm pretty sure I signed up at least 6 clients from that post. Taking no chances means wasting your dreams. Oh. Who feels like in here you're not really taking any chances? Thank you. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you. That's very hard to admit. These pictures you're seeing, we started to realize we weren't taking any real chances. We had a business that we took out a business loan to open. It's not a big risk, actually. We were living under the facade of, semi-successful small business owners that had a nice house in a nice subdivision, but we really weren't taking any chances in life. Everything that started to change for the better in our life started when we started taking bigger chances. Do you have the courage to fail? Okay, this is probably one of my messiest slides, because this is where it gets messy. This is when people that are starting to tap out of the beginner's luck, this is when they go, no, thank you. I don't think I will. I don't think I will see what it feels like, this picture with the apron on. I don't think I will see what it looks like to host an event at my house that no one comes to. So you try to take some cute picture and make it look like it was okay. And maybe people won't notice there's no one else in the picture. Thank God stories didn't exist then, because man, I wouldn't have been able to live, there'd been no rebound. Harold and I had a business meeting that night though, instead, because we plotted out the time. Business meeting. Watch out, there's a couple different types of business meetings. Do you know there was also double whammy? As if planning an event that no one shows up to is bad enough. I entered a drawing to win a call from Dr. A. Who do you think won? Me. I almost didn't answer the phone. We got a text from one of our mentors said, "You won, make sure you pick up the phone at this time." And I'm looking at him and I go, "Harold, we have no one here." It was like a company, it was a corporate thing that they put out for everyone to have healthy happy hours on this specific date. And the phone rings and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna
I said, "Get your apron on."
So I answered the phone. It is Dr. A. He's amazing. And of course he asked, "So how many people do you have there?" And they're streaming this call. And I'm like,
"Come on, kids, make some noise."
No one. And I start tearing up. And honestly, I can't even remember what he said, but it was amazing. And it was Dr. A. And what he did encourage me to do was, don't give up. You did it. You showed up. You hosted the event. Don't give up. And he told us to not be too tied also. I remember this because he was writing his book on identity, to our current identity and our current place of mind. And that's when I started breaking up with emotions. Not feeling emotions, because I'm a big emotion person, but I started breaking up with letting them own me. We had multiple healthy happy hours at our home. I can cook, but I'm not a great cook. Literally, that is a crock pot of shredded chicken, lettuce, and guacamole, okay? Most of the time, we just had coffee. Here's one of our smallest healthy happy hours at the studio. Harold is doing his thing anyway. And here we have five people. Harold is doing his thing anyway. If you could kick the person in the pants responsible for most of your trouble, you wouldn't sit for a month. So do you have the courage to change? Because if we are the source of most of our dilemmas, if we are actually the source of our pain because we decide to sit in it, do you have the courage to change and challenge the status quo? We were gym owners. I was a college dropout. I wanted to lead a life of impact. I felt called to lead a life of impact, but I didn't have the resume to do it. Harold, I felt like had the resume to do it, but didn't want to do it, was resistant to it. Nothing ever told me in that feeling, Sam, you're gonna be speaking on stages. No, I just wanted to lead a life of impact. Stop pushing me towards presenting. Stop pushing me towards living out loud on social media. Why are you pushing me to do things I don't wanna do? I just wanna live a life of impact. Well, why are you telling God, the universe, why are you trying to tell it what that looks like for you versus you just obeying the calling to be different and to change? It's right in front of you. It literally is right in front of you. Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. You are never not going to feel afraid. Earl Goodrich, we were talking about public speaking, and he's like, oh, you're afraid? You're like nervous? Can't even tell. Yeah, I am always nervous. I'm always nervous that I'm not going to make sense or I'm going to go off in the far left field because shiny things. I'm like Squirrel in the movie Up, there's always something I'm nervous about. There's always going to be something you're nervous about. There's always going to be something you're afraid of. Your brain will seek every plausible reason to be afraid. It's up to you to tell it that is not something to be afraid of.
And I remember that was kind of our journey, was every time we thought we were afraid, we were like, it was more reason why we need to step forward into it. Because we keep taking steps back, and then we take a little one forward, and then you take steps back, 2 steps back, and we were like, nope, we're just gonna keep like into the wind. Imagine the wind pushing that fear. We just kept stepping forward. And sometimes we leave and be like, that sucked. But we did it. And we got to win.
So even when you feel like you're failing, you're winning. What can you learn from that? So many people would have the healthy happy hour that no one shows up to, or only a couple people show up to, or the same people show up to multiple times. And they'll be like, well, I guess I shouldn't do that anymore. Instead of being like, well, I'm glad I'm doing this. Okay, I've set a foundation. Clearly not enough people are showing up. What can I do differently? Am I not training my team? Am I not being consistent enough with promoting it? Do I need to change the venue? Do I need to change the time? Do I need to change the place? Am I not setting the next time and day for it while I'm actually there so people know that this is something dependable? There's so many things. So when we meet a failure, it's great, I did it. I'm so glad because I didn't want to do that. How do I get better now?
I have so many pictures as we were looking through this. That's what took so long, was going through the pictures of our kids being drug along with knapsacks and snacks. I think they're eating some boiled eggs there and some yogurt and maybe some almonds or something right there and a juice. And they were happy as could be. They didn't know any better. They were with mom and dad. And they thought it was a party. Every time they had people other than us in the room, it was a party. So they just drug along. That's a damn plyo box we made by hand because we couldn't afford to buy one for our gym that they're using as a picnic table. But there's so many pictures of us always on the phone with headsets. You'll see more and more as you go through. There's probably thousands of them. And there's so many people along the way that would judge us, get back to the critics, that would judge us about all of that, dragging our kids to these things and always on the phone doing these things. And I'm like, you know what? We showed them what work looks like, what it looks like to go after your dreams, because now they don't say any of that, all those critics. Now it's, some of us got to work, Harold, right? Hey, we're going on this vacation. You want to come? Hey, we're going here. Some of us got to work, Harold. But that's the sacrifices that we took in the beginning, and thankfully we didn't listen to any of them.
Yeah, all of you parents out there struggling with the dad guilt or the mom guilt, one of the biggest things that I realized, because again, I'm pregnant here, very pregnant in that one, we hit global. I was like, I'm not letting this go. We're going to work super hard. We're not sliding back. We're building new EDs every month. And I'm probably about to pop here, because usually that's my about to pop look. But we showed up. We made the sacrifice. You know, when you think you should be in bed with your feet kicked up, I said, no, my baby really just needs me to be active and fulfilled and pouring impact into other people's lives. My little girl there that's sitting in my lap, she's now going to be 12 actually this month. And I thought, everything in me said, you should be focusing on them. You should not have these headsets in your ears. You should not be looking at your phone. You should not be on your computer. She's going to school in the next year. She's not going to be home as much. You should just be with her. And then I realized that more families than not need a dual income. And the chances of her just solely being a stay-at-home mom are slim. And I want my kids to know that if they got to work, they can work how they want. They can be home. They can have flexibility. They can choose to do something that they want to do, not just something that provides an income. Sacrifices to put yourself out there. I literally had just had a baby. But you know what? I needed to keep inspiring people. I needed to keep signing up clients. And I just had a baby, and I had an opportunity to show a real in-time transformation, and I took it.
Always
That's
opportunity.
hard.
We were walking the trail yesterday. What I told you. Oh, we were driving back, and I said, man, I see opportunity. Baby at 40, getting back in shape. Here it comes.
Business strategy here. And then
we got to go through it anyway. Let's go with it.
There's so many sacrifices. There's so many sacrifices you're going to make. I want you to think about what sacrifices outside of courage. Now write down the sacrifices you haven't been willing to make. Okay? This one here, this was one of our first healthy happy hours outside of the gym or our home. It cost money we didn't really have. The reason we did it was because we saw us working ourselves out of the gym. We saw us growing outside of our home. We said, we need to feel what this feels like. We need to start getting people into this space. We need to start conditioning them that we're all growing. And we did it. And you know what? Just about as many people showed up, could have fit in our gym, could have fit in our home, could have fit in a library, could have fit in a coffee house. But we still made the financial sacrifice, the time sacrifice. We took the leap of faith to go do something we didn't feel like we were ready to do. Courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. Who's too afraid to let yourself be seen? Me. Guess what? At Utah recently and the retreat, there's a little exercise that I had to stare into Johnny's eyes. It was Harold wasn't there, so I had to. There Johnny was. We got to stare deeply into each other's eyes for a couple minutes. But afterwards, Jim Duffmer said something. He's like, "What did you feel? Did you feel like you were uncomfortable being seen?" And it was the first thing I resonated with. Can you imagine that you could be so uncomfortable with the spotlight, with being seen, and yet you accept it because you know it's something you have to do? Mm-hmm. I'm up here because I know it's something I have to do. Not because I like to pick out cute outfits and be up here talking. I know I have to do this because if I don't do it, I don't know who else will for you. Do you have the courage to be coachable? One of the best things we ever did here was let this man, Alex, who's not even in the business anymore, but is responsible for so many good things in our lives. Because we let him see our ugly. We let him see exactly where we were at so he could tell us exactly where we needed to go. And while there was things he was tapped out on for us that at certain points in the business, he acknowledged he couldn't do for us because he wasn't doing it himself. He got us as far as he could get us, and we did what he told us to do. How many of you can resonate with feeling like my daughter right there, a little monkey? She's actually 14 now. This is the little Harold. Some of you, you've got the mentorship at the bottom, and you're all the way at the top, and you're like, yeah, I'm listening. Hi, so good to see you. Or you're blaming your mentorship. You say that you want it, but you are so out of reach. They're not actually out of reach. You keep putting yourself out of reach. You make yourself the wallflower. You make yourself unreachable. Or maybe you're not even just doing the simple things you know that they're going to tell you to do. This man told both of us, despite our deep fear of public speaking, that we needed to speak, that we needed to host presentations. I told him I wanted to die. He said, you were made to do this, both of you. We did it. What do you need to do? Outside of courage, write down the things you need to do that you aren't doing, that you aren't willing to do. I am not willing to do this. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The fear will be there, but you can conquer it. Do you have the courage to be relentless for your why? You're writing down the things you're not willing to do. Now I want you to look at your why. I wasn't willing to do public speaking, quote unquote. I wasn't willing to host events. In fact, I was downright mad about the fact that I was expected, I tried to put him on him, that I was expected to do extra work outside of the gym. And I had to look at these little girls, and I had to think about our future kids and think about the fact that the best quality time we would have with them would be at night when they were sleeping. Because I was not willing to step out of fear. Because I was not willing to host events. Because I was not willing to live out loud on social media. Because I was not willing to put together some before and afters for people that I thought they should be doing the work. With courage, you will dare to take risk, have the strength to be compassionate, and the wisdom to be humble. Courage is the foundation of integrity. Courageous people are vulnerable. It's not like a swinging of swords. It's not your brave heart these days. Your most courageous people are truly who they are. And for Harold, that looked like him getting really real and being honest as a provider, as a man that wanted to provide for his family, that he was desperately unhappy in our small business. He was unfulfilled, that he wanted to be in the same spot that I was. And he let me work I say let because we agree upon things as a team. We agreed that I would turn coaching into my full-time gig so I could be as a full-time health coach mama. But do you know who I left behind? Do you know who I didn't consult and even ask? Like what he wanted, where he wanted to be? And that took courage for him to come home, break down in tears, and tell me that he was done. He was tired. How many of you are holding on to an identity that's not serving you? It looked pretty, it looked cute, having my little baby girl in that. It was actually a girl. I like blue. That was Mila.
And that's the interesting thing, if we're being transparent, is that gym was created. I was an entrepreneur. It didn't matter what business we opened up. I went to school for business, got degrees in that. I just wanted to be a business owner. Didn't matter what we opened at the time. She was a personal trainer. I said, yeah, we'll do a gym. We can do that. I can make that happen. That was her baby. She loved that baby. And as she said, she left that baby and started being with her babies. But she left me with that damn thing. So I operated it and I ran it and I made some money with it. And I ran it my way. But eventually I wanted to get away from that business, as she just alluded to. And I remember her still not wanting to sell it, though.
Yep.
But she was attached to the identity of that business. Because of all the work, blood, sweat, tears, I painted those walls, I stained those concrete floors, I stole baskets from Rouse's because shit was hard. But that was the conversations. That was the hard conversations, to be vulnerable with each other and how we felt if we wanted to really move forward.
Yeah. I was tied to that identity. People would look at our logo that we drew on a napkin and they'd be like, is this a franchise? And I'm like, one day. Because that's what I thought our freedom plan was. I thought we would have many of our gyms around the U.S. until I realized how hard it is to have employees. And until I realized how hard it is to be away from your babies. Until I realized that the sacrifices we would have had to make to be successful entrepreneurs in that way, even though it would have been highly respected, that was more sacrifices than I was willing to make. The only time I got to see my first two babies was for the first 6 weeks postpartum, and if someone brought them into me while in between training sessions up here at the top right. Thanks to OPTIVIA, my third one, my son, he's actually at National Convention with us at 6 weeks old. He was in the audience when his mom and dad were on stage doing their global talk, their global recognition talk. He was with me at night. We were together. I had to be vulnerable and look at him and say, I wanted something different too. There's gonna be so much pain and obstacles. I feel like I'm always the serious person. I'm like, I'm always gonna be the person that's just gonna bring you the hard stuff. But you know what? It's because that's what I've lived through. I can guarantee you that you're gonna lose people you love. I can guarantee you, that's my mom. I squandered the opportunity to be with her in the last year of her life because I had to work at a gym. That's me with two of my sisters that passed away 6 months apart. 1 year, in 1 year. While I was having my son, my sister Shenandoah passed away a month before, and then 6 months later, my sister Alicia behind me passed away from substance abuse issues. The picture above us is my son sleeping on the floor in a hospice house. Guess what? We were building this business at the very same time. Here, I'm picking lice out of my daughter's head. What do you see around my neck? What do you see? Do you see a headset? It's not convenient. It's not easy. My son had surgery. We're building a business because this stuff is gonna happen. I'm having another baby here, surprise, always pregnant. Next to it, I have a dream. That's when I first got serious at an event. My dream, my goal is in that book. And all of this stuff happens. What are you gonna say? Well, shit happens. I can't go for it now. What? Who says that? If you are relentless, if you are adamant about staring your why in the face every day and being relentless, how can you let anything stop you? Because this was gonna happen anyway. And so I could be really sad, down and out, depressed about all the things that happen, and the fact that we're struggling financially, and the fact that I don't feel like I'm living up to my calling and living up to my potential, and I'm also, maybe I'm not building a business from home, but I still don't feel like I'm a present mom. Or you can lean into this. You can heal your finances. You can lead a life of impact. You can pick out lice of your kids out of your kids' head. You can deal with having to lose people you love. You can deal with hard things, but you won't have to deal with being financially strapped. You won't have to deal with feeling like you don't have an impact or a calling. Which one do you want?
Choose your hard.
Courage to build a tribe. These are some of our first as an organization before and afters. I created most of these by hand. Some of these came, you see Maria up there, you see Megan up there. Some of these came because I believed in another coach so much that they finally started duplicating skills. But I was not scared to do the work. I was not scared to elevate people. You have people in your life, they need you to show them that you are so damn excited about what they've done. Because they are. Look at the faces in these pictures. Look at Maria. Look at Megan. Look at their faces and how excited and how great they feel. There's not many other people in your life, in their life, that will be as excited as them and you. You got to band with these people. You got to do the work to elevate them, to put them on a stage. Why are you waiting for all of them to do it? Why are you not standing behind them and celebrating them and lifting them up? Courage is the only virtue you can't fake. You just know it, right? You know when you're in the presence of a courageous person. You know when you're in the presence of someone that refuses to back down. You know when someone knows they are tiny but mighty. When are you going to find your roar? Because you all have it in you. And do you have the courage to be consistent? I didn't lighten any of these pictures. I didn't Photoshop.
That's not the same event. That's me showing up doing the same goddamn presentation.
Look at the slides. Just check out the slides.
Every single time. And we would position it different, so we'd face the projector different ways just to get a different look.
We used every angle of that studio. Yep.
And there's that same projector that I drug around, that same projector screen. And that's why I like that she put these pictures up here, though, although I thought they looked like crap. But she wanted to show you guys that that's the crap we went through to get where we are. It's not all shiny the whole way. But healthy happy hours, if I impress anything upon you guys along the way too, is the courage to be consistent with something. If it's healthy happy hours, there'll be a handful of things that you're going to need to have courage to be consistent with. We're going to show. I can't speak to things that other leaders have done consistently. I can't speak to we can't do that. We can authentically speak to what we did consistently. And again, some or most of the stuff we do must not be sexy enough or shiny enough for you guys, because you still look the other way. I hear him talking about it, but it ain't that important. Or I'm not willing to do that. Let's look at this over here. Let's look at that over there. You have to be consistent at the simple stuff.
So let's go back to the other slide real quick. Same. You feel like everything's the same people, same crowd. It kind of grows, it's kind of changing. You get all the way down here to the bottom right. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, we got a lot of people. Then things start to change. Now you're at hotels, your hotel venues are growing, and before you know it, that's saying before you know it, 10 years later, the compound effect has fully set in. You got to get started for the compound effect to set in. This is also from The Alchemist. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. Okay, this is like going to God and praying about it. Key word is help. It doesn't say all the universe conspires in doing it for you. Can we say that again? It does not say all the universe conspires in doing it for you. God does not conspire in doing it for you. He made you with hands, a mind, a heart, a body, muscles, intelligence. You're going to have to work. But when you really start to get to work and consistently, yes, God is going to help you. Courage to shine. Look up and count the stars. My favorite passage, my guiding light in this time, it's Genesis 15:5. God takes Abraham out. He has nothing. They're starting new. He says, well, look up. You have nothing. Count the stars. So shall your descendants be. And descendants was wealth then, okay? Descendants was impact. It was legacy. It was all the good things, everything everyone wanted. They wanted babies and they wanted sheep and cattle, okay? And lots of food. That was currency. Some of you are not stepping into having the courage to shine because you don't think you're shiny. But every single one of you in here, you're a star in our constellation. From that day, many of you didn't even exist in this mission. And here you are because we believed. Didn't believe that I belonged up there in the gold dress, but I did believe that you belonged here. And again, if we didn't do it, who was going to do it? You're going to have to shine to show others that they can shine. I don't know how much more shiny I can get. I'm like, this is about my level of shininess, guys, and it makes me feel uncomfortable. I need you to step up to the plate. We need you to step up and see something in you that everyone has been trying to tell you is there all along.
That's a good point too, because actually the thesis of this whole topic, the courage to go after your dreams, actually I brought that to her. So this is what we need to open with. We need to really open with this weekend. And as she does, she started wrapping her head around it. She started going through the pictures. So the courage to shine is also sometimes to stand to the side and let other people shine. Because as I'm up here, we were going to go back and forth on some things. I've been really quiet up here because we know from working up here that she was in flow. I noticed that she was really feeling each slide and she was really in flow. I'm not going to jump in just to jump in. So I know at this point to step back, and I'm okay to let someone else shine that's going to deliver a message that needs to be heard. You guys need to do the same thing. Sometimes you have coaches or clients that you need to just let them shine. Does that make sense? And you need to be okay with that.
So I want you to read this. Take a picture. And I'm bringing you, this isn't church, but I'm telling you what impacted us at this time. These are the things that literally kept us going. And I want you to know that you're going to have the hints. You're going to have the whispers. And it's going to lead you to something that you're going to need to anchor in on. I had to anchor in on counting stars because it kept me going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm, as our first quote. It kept me going through all the things. Do you not know that in a race, all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? So run in such a way as to get the prize. Are you running? Are you running in a way to get the prize? Are you even running? Outside of the courage, I want you to put down. I want you to write walking, speed walking, jogging, running, or sprinting. And I want you to circle it because that's your current pace. And if you're not running or sprinting, I want you to draw an arrow to your next pace. Therefore, I do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I don't run aimlessly. That's dumb. Who wants to show up saying they're doing the work, not actually doing the work? If I'm going to take the time for it, well, damn it, I'm going to put all my effort into it. Do you have the courage to put the effort in the heart into what you say you want? I strike a blow to my body and I make it my slave so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize. I won't be disqualified for the prize. I'm not going to say that I'm showing up and then 10 years later not have it. Who in here is going to be here 10 years later and say, I did not disqualify myself for the prize? Raise your hand. Why am I not seeing all hands go up? A little confused. Come on. This is a check yourself or wreck yourself moment. Are you going to run in such a way as to get the prize? Do you remember the first pictures? Do you remember? Because this is what you see now, right? Minus the bump. We need a new one with the bump. I know this is what you see now, but now you know where we came from. I hope you feel just like us. I hope that you can see everything that you're meant to be.
Here's what I know, that dream that you're holding in your mind, that it's possible. See, sometimes we can't say, I can do that. But what we can say, that it's possible that I can have my dream as we run toward it, as we work on it day in and day out. And I want you to think about whatever your dream is. Because I was willing to take a chance, and most people won't do that. Most of the people that you talk to try and bring them into the business, these are not risk takers. Most people have done all that they're ever going to do. They raise a family, they earn a living, and then they die. But people who are running toward their dreams, life has a special kind of meaning. And here's what I will share with you, that in the process of working on your dreams, you are going to incur a lot of disappointment, a lot of failure, a lot of pain, a lot of setbacks, a lot of defeats. But in the process of doing that, you will discover some things about yourself that you don't know right now. It's necessary to know that everybody won't see it, that everybody won't join you, that everybody won't have the vision. It's necessary to know that a lot of people like to complain, but they don't want to do anything about their situation, that you are an uncommon breed. You know, you have to know within yourself that I can do this. Even if no one else sees it for me, I must see it for myself. That's necessary. Yes, it's possible that you can choose your future and direct the course of your life as you run toward your dream. It's necessary that you have goals, that you write those goals down, that you plan, that you think constantly of how you can begin to improve what it is that you're doing. If it's your presentations, if it's your recruiting skills, whatever that is, it's also necessary that you look for ways to always find a way to pull it out when everybody else thinks that you are defeated. That you've got to take personal responsibility to know that in order to become successful, you've got to make it your personal business to do it. When I was in 5th grade, I was identified as EMR, labeled educable, mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade, and stayed in that category until I got out of high school. I don't have any college training, but I met a high school teacher who one day changed my life. I was waiting on another student, and when he came in, he said to me, young man, go to the board and write what I'm about to tell you. And I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, it doesn't matter, follow my directions now. I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, why not? I said, because I'm educable, mentally retarded. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And so I started working to develop myself. He said, I want you to practice every day being a disc jockey. I said, but I don't have any job now. He said, it doesn't matter. He said, if you want to do anything worthwhile in life, you've got to be hungry.
So you're going to have the courage to be hungry. Are you going to have the courage to stand up, courage to fail, the courage to be vulnerable, the courage to stop identifying with your anxiety? Anxiety is just fear, sadness, and wanting to tell the future of how everything will go. Can you let it go? Because you know what? that Sam and Harold that you met way back when, we wanted to know how everything would go. And how many of you in here want God to give you a little playbook, a little photo album, just like we just did? Say, just show me how everything's going to go. Give me the step-by-step. Give me the playbook. That way I can just do it, and bam, 10 years later, we're there. We're living the life of impact that we want. We're doing all the things, right? Would you want it? Do you want the photo album? Do you want it? No, you don't. You know why? You don't know why? Because I looked at those pictures. I asked myself, oh, my God, would I do it all again? And I had to take a deep breath. You know why? Because it was WORK. It was work. It was hella fun. It was rewarding, but it was work. And the answer is yes, I would. I'd be a little more tired, a little older, a lot more babies, but yes, I would. Because what's the alternative? Am I going to go back to a gym? Am I going to go open another gym? No, heck no. No. This is a good life. So there's a Garth Brooks song I was going to end with, but look it up on your phone. It's called The Dance. And it says, I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end. This makes me teary. The way it would all go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I would have had to miss the dance. Miss the pain or miss the dance? You don't want to miss the dance? You got to do it all. You got to be hungry. You got to be courageous. You're made for it. You can do it.